Hi, this is Belleanne Phillips, and this is the back door to the house I'm in currently. And I'll be talking about that in a moment. First, here's a quick picture of me. If I have this positioned properly, but you see, this phone won't let me switch between the front camera and back camera while I am videotape recording, so this is what you get. Alright, back to this back door. This is the house where I grew up. This patio wasn't there then, but I'm back here again because of financial situations about 6 or 7 years ago, and I'm still here because of financial situations about 6 or 7 years ago. The government let us down on some big contracts to do with narrative, where we were trying to figure out what terrorists were doing and to project what might be happening in the future. We were very successful, and then they lost all their funding. Poor us. So anyway, that's the back door of the patio that wasn't here when I grew up, and here's the rest of it. And why am I showing you all this? I'm showing it all to you because I want you to see my studio in progress. This is where I do all my work, or intend to, or will. See that door over there on the side of the garage, double garage? It's actually a workshop that was originally my grandfather's space, and this was his dark room. I can't get in from this side right now because I neglected to open the latch on the door. It latches from the inside, but I can cut in there from the outside. So, through Teresa's workshop here, and all the projects she has going. And over here, you see there's a door that leads in here. And my favorite part of this whole workshop, you can see how often I'm in here, are all these spider webs. Oh yeah. I had one here for a long time, a great big daddy longlegs cellar spider that I called Joe, the studio spider. And that's when I first moved in here 6 years ago, got it cleaned out, and finally moved in to make something of it. But as you see now, it's kind of dark and cluttered. There was a time when we just stored boxes in here. And that's part of the reason why people have been saying, how come you're just posting all these old things you did in 1994 and you're not posting anything that you have done recently? It's because it's hard to video record here. There's 3 people in the house. By the way, that's an actual piece of foil that came off the Apollo 11 orbiter that stayed in orbit when they went down to the moon. And when they came back, they gave away as souvenirs chunks of that, cuts of it. And that piece of gold foil right there is genuine around the moon orbital foil. Pretty damn cool from the most important flight. Now I'm going to try to open this up so you can see here, and I'll tell you a little more about what's going on. This is the beginning of a series. I am inspired by circumstance. Oh, for God's sake, come on, open up. You can, oh, Jesus. Okay, let's try again. I'm going to put this phone down for a second. Here, I'm opening up my secretary. Okay, I think I finally got it. Let's try it. Hey, son of a bitch. Alright, so we've got this open, and now we can look inside my studio. Got to prop this open. You should see all the, oh, yeah, there. You should see all of the daddy longlegs scurrying around. And unfortunately, there's also widows around here. Black widows, brown widows. Sometimes we kill a bunch of them every night. I always look around to make sure they aren't falling on me. I hope to get this cleaned out someday. Anyway, this is my studio. And this is where I have done work in the past, and then we ended up using it for storage, and it's got all kinds of things in here, but unfortunately, right now it's not very usable. Not usable at all with any of my musical keyboards or anything. And I think I mentioned my dad's flag that they gave me. It's not actually his flag from my stepdad from his funeral a few years ago. He died of COVID at the beginning of the when everybody was doing it. Anyway, it's a loaner flag they had, and basically everyone who died, they put it over their casket if they didn't have authorization from the government for a flag by the time they got buried. So who knows what kind of spirits are floating around in there, but I'm sure it adds to the ambience of the place. Anyway, so I wanted to tell you why I'm doing this. I have a new series where I'm letting my hair down, which is hard for you to believe because you've seen me in some of my other videos. It's pretty far down already. But in any event, I am a creative person, and narrative is the center of my life, and it touches on everything I do, so I thought I would too. I thought I would loosen up like Adam Savage, who has a great presence on YouTube, and that I would start sharing some things of mine the same way he does that are of interest to him, and hopefully they'll be of interest to you as well. Now, I have a personal page. It's Melanie Ann Phillips 1. Remember, Ann is spelled with 2 N's and an E. So it's Melanie, A-N-N-E, Phillips with 2 L's, 1. But you'll find a link to it on your homepage right here on StoryMind. All you got to do is just go to the homepage, scroll down, and it says, this is what else I do. And if you click on any one of those links, it will take you there. This is my primary writing desk. I did a lot of work on here. For a long time, this is my desk. It was my grandfather's secretary. And it's a pretty cool affair from the 1920s. And I used it a lot for my work. Many things were created here. And lately, I've been going through old family papers and kids' papers. And literally, I've got 50 boxes of stuff like this stored right over there behind the trash cans in the carport that used to be a garage, but they took out the back side of it when they put in this garage and all this blacktop for my grandfather. There's many stories to tell, and unfortunately you're going to be exposed to all of them. Run now while you have the chance. In any event, today's episode is just about saying I want to talk about other stuff to my StoryMind people, not just on my personal website. I want to talk about the things that interest me, where things came from, where the ideas came from, and to really just let loose a little. Like right here, here's a cool thing. This was one of the first visualizations of Dramatica. It's a toroid. It's a toroid wrapped by a Mobius strip, but it is a Mobius strip that goes around 4 times before it reconnects. It was the best way I could visualize the way a class worked. And this is one complete class. It's got all the 64 elements, and the different colors are the different sections in the variations and so on. But this is one class, and when we were first developing Dramatica, we thought there was only one pyramid shape that later became one of the towers called Universe. We thought that was it. And then we went from there and found that it was not just universe, but it was also mind. It had to have a counterpart. And it was only much later, after we changed from the pyramid form, Chris had a great idea to put it in a tower, where instead of showing how they all came to an apex that was a particular point of view, look, there's a spider web. Yeah. Anyway, particular point of view, that it would be better if we put it in a tower to show what was nested and what fell beneath it. Will you go away? That one's sticky. Anyway, when we did that, of course, this was obsolete, though probably mathematically much more accurate to the way it all works. And you'll find a few of those things in here, plus a lot of other personal stuff stashed away. Like, for example, here's an early version of a master for Dramatica Unplugged. And unlike the one that's on television right now, on YouTube and streaming, this one actually has the examples of all the films that I talk about. It was 20 hours long. The current one's only about 12 hours long because I had to pull those all out for copyright reasons. So, you know, there's the original, but you can't see it. Sorry. All right. Anything else in here about Dramatica? There's a bunch of stuff elsewhere that I will find. There's some early Dramatica software hiding down here in a box, early versions. Do you know that the first story engine of Dramatica was only 27K in size? Imagine, it's like a Rubik's Cube, I've said many times. All the story elements can be twisted and turned into different forms or patterns. But when you do that, they walk around the yard a little. You've seen enough of this for a little while. Look at my son's koi that he stores here because he has an apartment now. And our avocado tree was our Christmas tree one year, and we had to cut it down to half its size just to transport it down from Salem when we were living up north to come down here for business before we got all screwed by the government contract, as I mentioned before. And here's another good thing why I don't record. The airplanes! We're not that far from the airport. Can't even see that one, so there's no visual payoff. All that noise, no payoff. Anyway, it's hard to record if I come out to the studio because it's not soundproofed. I don't have enough money to soundproof it, but I can close the door once I get a light in here. But as you saw, it's pretty dark and lots to do. Anyway, I've been posting, like I said, 3 or 4 different videos every day to my personal account. Some of it's my music, having written over 500 songs, melodies, songs with words, riffs, hooks. I recorded 500 original musical pieces, and they're all on cassettes, mostly in the 70s and 80s, micro cassettes. Sound quality is awful, and as I think I said at the beginning, I am a absolutely horrible musician, a god-awful singer, but a pretty good composer. So if you want to hear some interesting song ideas and ignore the performance, go for it. Anyway, you'll find that, again, links to it, on the StoryMind homepage at the very bottom. After you've gone through all the different categories of things, there's what I do the rest of the time, it says. And under it, you'll find links to all these, including my home movies. I've been publishing home movies my grandfather shot of me and the whole family back in 1956 and 1957. Pretty damn fine. And he may be in this picture somewhere. Is he in there? Yeah, son of a bitch, there he is. There's my grandfather right there. And he's the reason that you have all those movies shot on a Kodak 8mm movie camera with a turret lens for normal close-up and distance, and with a light bar inside all the time. Oh, those were the days. He worked as a welder and for most of his life. Although once he drove around a gangster in the 30s in Chicago when he was young. Ah, what's falling? Okay, that's dangerous in here. My grandson's come in here and I'm like, you know, it's hazardous. Anyway, and he drove a gangster around, and the gangster invited him in every time they stopped at a speakeasy, and he went inside and they both got drunk and he slammed his taxi cab into a pole. They spent the night in the pokey. Oh yeah, I sound like Homer Simpson. Spent the night in the pokey. You're going to hear a lot of cartoon voices too, like my stupid elementary school, I don't know, you know, things like that. There's a bunch of them. I'm just letting loose here because, you know, my audience for my personal stuff is never cut off. I get 3-4 views per video. Here, even if I put up something like a 1994 recording on a cassette that's poor quality, and I'm ambling like I am now, I'll get like 30, 40, sometimes 100 hits. I put up one of the new things, I got 125 hits. I've got 3,000 followers here. It took me 15 years to get them. And probably, I'd say, based on my best guess, at least half of them are dead. And probably half of the ones remaining are senile. But there's still a few of you guys. I get up to 100, 120 posts, responses sometimes. A few people even like things, you know, that's amazing. You see all these views, but who likes stuff, you know? Who takes the time to like stuff? Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up pretty quick here, but I just want to say I'm doing fine. I'm trying to wrap up and put all my old stuff up so that it can do some good in the world after I'm gone. I don't care if anybody remembers me, but I want them to have access to the pretty pictures I took, thousands of photographs in the style of Ansel Adams, and I have some of my best work up there on my page too. And there's the science fiction thriller series I'm writing right now called The Event. It's going to be 24 books long. It's currently, I've done 6 of them. They're little booklets, novelettes, but they keep getting longer each time. I thought they were going to be chapters in a big book, but they started expanding on me, and so I've been publishing them independently. And in fact, you'll find a professional narrator did an audio version of the first 6 books for me, episode by episode. Each section in it is an episode, and there's like 96 episodes so far in 6 books, so who knows how far we will get. But I can tell you this. When I made The Event, when I did it in order to see if I could write something that violated every rule I had ever preached about how to write a good story. For example, there is no main character. There are no acts. There's not an ensemble of recurring characters that go through, although 1 or 2 make an appearance here and there a second time around. But everything in it is not a message film. There's no leap of faith film. I'm thinking ahead to the movie TL. Anyway, if you want to see it, in episodes it's called The Event, because the whole arc is called The Event. But in book form, where these episodes are grouped together in chapters, and you'll see why if you check it out, it's called Man-Made, and it's a wholly original idea that people go, holy cow, that wholly original idea is fantastic, and have said so, both to my face and also in responses on Amazon. So you can check out, you know, on Amazon, my author's page. I'll probably put a bunch of links down here so you can check out other stuff and make it easy for yourself. But by God, I've already gone on for over 15 minutes. There's so much I want to say, so much I want to talk about. But in the meantime, we'll just say tonight that this is the end of today's story. And I don't know what I'm going to title it yet. It might be Down the Rabbit Hole with Melanie. It might be Narrative in Me, or Dramatica in Me, or Narrative is My Life, or Melanie Off the Wall, or Narrative and Melanie. Wow, there's a concept. Anyway, so for me, whoever I am now, and all the rest of me that I am occasionally, I bid you a good evening, and I hope to see you around for the next episode of whatever this is going to be called. Bye-bye.